Good Friday afternoon to you. Welcome to the Oil Stream Live right here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Actually, Trev, I have to do this. Can you bump me up just a little bit? Number 3. There we go. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with you here on the Oil Stream here on this Friday on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in iHeartRadio as well as those watching on YouTube. I was laughing just beforehand because for those that heard on the Hangout, we're talking about Wirecast training that the boys had, and we talked about how you have to clear all the layers. Tom, you were in on this, and you got to clear the layers because you got to set things up. And then I said, I don't clear layers anymore. Trev, Zach don't, because we've gotten further along. We're used to not. But when you're learning this, clear the layers. Trev made a little bit of an error because he didn't clear his layers. Didn't clear his layers.
Man, I had to have that cheat sheet laminated, and you got to pull out your laminator. You hadn't used it in a while, and I have the notes on how to make sure a show goes to air in case one of the producers isn't available. And all I know is I had to be sure to clear all the layers when building a show. Well, I did listen.
And you have to learn that. There is a point where if you learn it well enough, you could get past it, and I won't get as upset. Or I won't be like, ooh, you didn't clear layers. Trev made one of those little stumbles. Oh, you don't suck. He's just saying, I suck.
He's been working hard today. He had a great morning show. So
we had a great hangout today. Really enjoyed the hangout today. We were all over the place with that one. And I even got a little conversation about Manchester United as their campaign, if you were, kicks off today. Kicks off in less than an hour's time as United looks to make the top 4. I'm not going to say we're going to win it.
Go United. I'll stand by you on this one, Matthew.
As you should.
I don't have a premiership team.
You should cheer for Manchester United. I just will say that. It's a great club. It's wonderful. It's joyous. We haven't won since 2013, so it's not like you're jumping on the favorite right now. And they're not crappy Liverpool.
Oh.
Screw Liverpool.
Okay.
Yeah.
To all the Liverpool lovers out there, I apologize for Matthew's behavior.
Why would you apologize to them?
But as a United fan, I rescind that apology. How's that?
Okay, between morning show and Oil Strip, do you get a nap in, or do you just power through?
I quickly snuck one in. I did have to take care of some stuff.
I feel like if I got into a nap in between the two, I'd be so off doing a show.
No, like a quick power snooze, like 35 minutes, and that was it. Today's a busy day, lots going on. Trying to catch up on some stuff as well, and but I managed to get one in, and I think I've kind of developed a process to shut my mind down for a quick 30. So I got one in. It was good. It was rewarding, and here we are, fresh as a daisy, ready to go. Big thank you to Joaquin Gage on the morning show. Did great today.
Get used to him. He's back on Monday. Him and Jay Milne on Monday together with YouTube, Trev. So we'll see what the boys do on Monday. They'll have a good time. I'll get them some guests, and they'll have a good time, no question about it. We had a busy day yesterday. A lot of coverage on the Edmonton Elks on EST yesterday. I think no one covered it better than Edmonton Sports Talk when it comes to yesterday. But one of the things we couldn't do then while we're covering the Edmonton Elks and Larry Thompson buying this franchise was we're still in that window of the offer sheets when it comes to Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway. So that's why it's great to have the Oil Stream on today. We can get back to a little bit more of discussion of that because the team has until Tuesday to match this. Tommy, what's the latest that you have heard when it comes to the Oilers with Broberg and Holloway?
Latest that I heard was no panic. Obviously, they have a dilemma. We know that clearly since the offers and the signing of the offer sheets were made. But it's good to hear that it doesn't sound like there's panic with the Oilers front office and the hockey ops department. But now they have to deal with this situation that they left themselves vulnerable to. And it wasn't Ken Holland. He doesn't deserve all the blame. He doesn't deserve the lion's share of the blame. Is he immune from, some of it? No, No, he was part of the hockey ops department, but to put it all on him is not right. I think we made that abundantly clear. And, I think the other thing too is now this puts this hockey ops department in a bit of a dilemma and a jam, and they have to figure out the best plan of action going forward. And it sounds like they're in the midst of that. Obviously, they're not saying anything publicly until they make their decision. I've been told that some comments that were made have annoyed some people, and that they understand where those comments came from and whose talking points were being repeated publicly. But that's beside the point. The point of this now is to get it done and to figure out which assets to maintain, whether it's one, both, or none. That's what they're working on right now. So, it's interesting, and we'll see where this goes. And you know what? I was talking with Gager after the morning show, and I said, Philip Broberg, no matter what, this upcoming season is a $4.58 million defenseman. Is he one in people's eyes? Do the majority of Oilers fans believe that? Where does the hockey ops department see him, and can they stomach 4.58 for the next 2 years? Do they think Broberg will quickly grow into that? I think he could, personally. I think at some point he will become that. Do I think he's that right now in an Oilers uniform? No. Could he become that in a Blues uniform where Torrey Krug's going to be out and he could have someone as a guiding light in Colton Parayko playing alongside him, and they need a guy, St. Louis does, to help man the point on the power play? That's a pretty sweet opportunity. And if Broberg really is set to take that next step in his career, he could easily surpass being a $4.58 million a year player. But time will tell. He'll have to, prove it to himself and everybody in the upcoming season, potentially in St. Louis, or maybe he comes back here and he'll be more of a depth defenseman that'll chip his way or work his way up towards being a top four. It's a predicament. And then the other thing too is Dylan Holloway at $2+ million per season. Do you let him walk? Do you look at the fact that you have Savoy as a prospect going forward as a way to ease the blow and allow Dylan Holloway to walk away?
I'll say I would be stunned I'd be stunned if they'd let both walk.
So would I.
I don't know which way they would go with it fully here, and it does seem like it's now more Dylan Holloway will be the one that's kept. I would be stunned if they let both walk, just because you could fit at least one of those in the cap, especially if Evander Kane's now going on LTIR. You could keep one. And why would you allow an asset to leave for such a minimum return in my mind?
Right.
Broberg only being a second, that hurts a bit. That you've taken this first-round pick, you've tried developing him. There was the rumors that came out yesterday that Buchnevich was offered to the Oilers in exchange for both these players around the trade deadline. The fact that you only would get a second for Broberg would hurt, and for Dylan Holloway a third, that's ridiculously low in my mind.
Did you notice those? And I think people pointed out $1 less than what would command a higher compensation.
The next level, the next tier.
Very clever, salt in the wound. But
it's the way to do it, and it was very smartly done by Doug Armstrong, and even just in this fact that there is no retribution the Oilers could do next season, because I know Jake Neighbors is an RFA, and there's some people that were just looking at it right away and be like, you go for that guy. The Oilers don't have the cap space to do that.
Right. How about you beat the St. Louis Blues every chance you get?
Yeah, that'd be the way to do it. But we've seen, those teams that then, we'll do it back to you to show you. The Blues found a spot in a team here where it's like we could go maybe get one or two good young players. It's not going to cost us a lot. And also we don't have to worry about retaliation because, or at least it'd be years from now they'd have to worry about that. But Doug Armstrong's gone anyways. He's being bumped up in a couple of years, and Alex Steen's going to have to deal with anything like that. So he's fine when it comes to all of this. But yeah, I'd be shocked if they decide to move on from Broberg. I'd be stunned if they also said, yeah, we're going to walk on from Dylan Holloway and look to replace both of these guys. Just quickly, Hampton Steve into the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. If the Oilers aren't matching the offer sheets, do you think it'll be a Friday afternoon news dump, or do you see the Oilers taking the decision down to the wire Monday evening, Tuesday morning?
I think they take it down to the wire. I don't feel like they're in the mood of being in the news or creating their own news. And as we know, like, yes, the Friday news dump, classic move. We've seen it recently from some teams. The NHL has done it. I believe they did the Bowman Quenneville blurb
on July
in the middle
1st.
of the draft or free agency. So they kind of slipped that in there. Anything that the Oilers do, especially with this situation, it being the offseason, we're getting very close now to players returning to Edmonton in the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks or so here. That there's a thirst building for news about the team. This has certainly quenched some of it in a negative way, but it gets the team back at the forefront of the sports news cycle. I don't think it would be a Friday news dump. I think if they have their decision, they'll just make it. They'll match or whatever. It could come Saturday afternoon. Like, I don't think they care. They'll make their decision. They'll do their thing. Maybe they're going to try to maximize the amount of time they have to get the deal done or to make sure they have the right decision in place. But no, I don't see it as a Friday news dump. I think they'll just, hey, we're doing it, and then people will pay attention because this has caught everybody in the hockey world by storm.
I'll say it's one of. I always felt like with offer sheets too, it goes one of two ways. Either you immediately or relatively quickly announce we're matching this, or like we're keeping these guys. Or you go till the end. You say screw it to the Blues. You're waiting. We're gonna make you wait. Yeah. We're not gonna let you know early that you're gonna get one of or both of these players. They might make the decision today. They might know what they're doing. But to me, you wait till the last possible second, and then you go, yeah, we're matching. No, we're not matching. They took that shot here. Like, we're going to make you wait to see if you're getting one of these guys. We're not going to let anything happen. And if they ultimately come and find a way to match both, let's say, then it seemed like, well, we're going to make sure you're waiting till the very last second. But if it's to let any guy walk or something, why let the Blues know early? Why let them have any sort of extra? And I don't think it really matters too much. But why? Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait till Monday night, Tuesday morning. We'll let you know then. Talk to you soon. That's the way I look.
That's fair. And again, like, the message I was passed along is they're not panicked, they're annoyed, and they're trying to make the best plan possible right now. So I'll take that for what it's worth. Let's see where this goes. And the other thing, and Matty, you kind of talked about it too, like, we have seen a little bit of back and forth when it comes to offer sheets in recent years, and Carolina, of all teams, involved with the Montreal Canadiens and Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Sebastian Aho. And that turned into vengeful and spite. And, Kotkaniemi at $6 million. And Tom Dundon, I think, there's a lot of pride that Tom Dundon has for his team. And he seems like a fiery guy and very staunch in his ways, like many owners are. But that one didn't really turn out for them. I mean, are you happy with a $6 million third liner?
That's the beauty of this offer sheet, though. World. Like, this offer sheet was the fact that it was also 2-year deals. Like, I know you have to qualify Broberg at his 4.5 or whatever the number is, but if you don't like where it is, you could just walk. Yeah, if you don't like what you got from Broberg over the next 2 seasons, if you're the Blues, you could just walk away from him, and all it cost you is a second-round pick. Like, they're not a team that's close to the cap or anything like that, so it's not like you're going to be locked in long term with, and Dylan Holloway, it's just $2 million for them over 2 years. That's the part that I think is like made this a brilliant offer sheet, and I hope more from an entertainment perspective of hockey, I hope more GMs do this, that they go find those players that aren't exactly the top end players yet, but go give them that little bit of a raise. Do it for a short period of time where it doesn't cost them too much, but it forces the hand of the other team to maybe do something. Like, look, if I'm of any of the other clubs in hockey, I'm loving watching this.
Of course.
When the Habs and the Hurricanes were going through that, we loved watching the back and forth that it was. Because who was the guy that they retaliated with? Or who was the first? It was
Aho first.
It was Aho first. That's right. So it was Sebastian Aho. They matched like right away, and then they went for Kotkaniemi. It's fun to watch. It's great. I know Oiler fans are right now upset with the St. Louis Blues and Doug Armstrong, and they're a little upset that the Oilers allowed this to happen.
They should be, yeah.
But entertainment-wise, this is great. This is fun to watch. So I hope maybe this opens things up for other GMs to go, this might be a good way to build a team. If I find a team that's close to the cap, it doesn't have to be the $12 million, $10 million deal over 7 years. That's going to cost me multiple firsts. I can do this for $2 million. It's a second-round pick.
Yeah.
I'm in.
And I'm going to correct myself. Kotkaniemi was 4.8. What is Aho's at 9 now? But
Aho was very high.
Yeah, what was Aho at? I'm now learning. I'm looking at Puckpedia right now, so I'm learning like the dashboard and how it works. So yeah,
I don't like it on the phone. When I've been doing it in the Hangout, it's been a little tougher.
Let's look at Aho and click the player. It's a process we're all going through together.
$9.75 million.
Okay, where's his previous contracts?
Did they have previous contracts?
What did the Habs sign him to? Was it 8?
Was it a 1-year deal then?
Because he made 8.45 AAV since 1920. So maybe that's what they did.
It was an offer sheet worth $8.454 million.
So that was that contract. And then the Canes go back and they throw 4.8 at Kotkaniemi, and the Habs say thanks, but no thanks. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got the number. At least we got the number.
What did you say the Kotkaniemi was?
Well, he's at 4.82, but it was 6. So
yeah,
okay,
because it says
6.
it would have been a qualifying offer next year of $6 million was part of that. So I guess that's where you were coming from with that.
Yes. So I did remember it correctly. He has since taken a haircut. Drama. Call it the drama of the National Hockey League. And yeah, that one was spite, vengeance, all that stuff. And I guess the St. Louis Blues are demonstrating a masterclass in how to pull off a heist in the NHL if they get it done. And then if the Oilers match, they're still making Edmonton literally pay and then figuratively pay cap-wise and then real dollars-wise. So the Blues got the Oilers here. They really did. And then the rest of the National Hockey League gets to sit there and go, oh, bravo, gentlemen's golf clap for you on a job well done. Because, listen, the Oilers aren't winning anybody over around the National Hockey League. They're not everybody's favorite team. So, yeah, I don't think a lot of people around the NHL feel bad for Edmonton right now.
Well, and I'll look mostly at the West to start here, but if you're in the West, like the Oilers are hurt one of two ways. They're not a better hockey team necessarily after this. They either get these two players, but they've had to make some moves to fit them into the cap, or they're going to lose some young players that were part of their plans moving forward. Like this isn't how the Oilers envisioned, this offseason was going to go and going into the regular season, and now it's either they're going to have some guys here that are paid higher than they were expecting and they have to make some maneuvering to make that work, or they've lost some young players and not for exactly the best compensation. So awesome. Yeah. If you're any of those other clubs in the West, you're happy with what you're seeing, what the Blues did. And you might be like, hey, sending a little pound emoji maybe to Doug Armstrong or something like that.
Until you're right. Until if teams are not alerted and now have to be very aware of this happening to them, Okay,
but I brought this up quickly on the Hangout because the reason that this is happening kind of is Doug Armstrong is buddies with Ken Holland, and the people say this wouldn't happen if Ken Holland was the general manager of this team. This wouldn't happen. Here's where my frustration with that is. If I was a Blues fan hearing that a little bit, is if Ken Holland, let's say, signed a 1-year extension with the Oilers because he wants to run it back, this team wanted to run it back, like we're going to do it together. If Doug Armstrong feels this is the best way to improve his hockey club, he wasn't going to do it because Ken Holland was here? So what's more important, your job with the St. Louis Blues and improving your hockey club or your friendships? And that's where the old boy system, I don't like that fully because it goes to the offer sheets. I don't care that another GM might get upset that you've offered an offer sheet. You are employed by a franchise to make that franchise the best it can be and win a Stanley Cup. And if an offer sheet is one of the ways you feel that you could probably improve your club, go do it. And don't worry about, he's my buddy.
Valid. 100% valid and probably the right mentality to have, but that is not how it works. I would point to this situation, certainly, and I understand it would probably frustrate people, but the old boys club, doing favors for your friends, happens all the time. The Oilers wouldn't have gotten Cam Talbot without Glenn Sather. Simple as that.
Fair.
That was a Glenn Sather favor to the Edmonton Oilers.
Glenn gave a few favors to the Oilers over the years. There's a lot of trade deadlines where all of a sudden the Oilers are making a trade with the Rangers, or what is it, June 30th, Mike Richter was an Oiler all of a sudden because
Mark Messier's rights were returned to the Oilers one year.
Because the Oilers get the draft pick or whatever if they signed.
Yes. So this has happened for many, many years, for decades, and this is one where the Oilers got caught. And now they're in a jam, and it takes a little bit of the polish and shine off of what was a spectacular start to the offseason, coming off a thrilling run to the Stanley Cup final and a Game 7 loss. And I think was it Huss and Dusty were talking about it goes from like an A+ to a B offseason. And at the end of the day, Maddie, like this is still a very strong hockey team on paper. Obviously, they have to play the games this upcoming season. They have to work their way back, see what they can do if they can get back to the Stanley Cup final. But there's an expectation there. Let's see how they handle expectation, because we know they've struggled with expectation in recent years, especially when people talk them up. But, these aren't kids anymore. This team is one of the oldest in the NHL, if not still the oldest on average by age. It makes me laugh and at the same time feel pain for Oilers fans, because I say this and I've said it to you. It's just like why can't Oilers fans have nice things? You think it's going so good and then boom, they get blindsided, and it sucks for Oilers fans. My friends love this team. My family loves this team. And a lot of people out of market love this team. And it's just like, it never flows smoothly. And here we are again with that ringing true. And it's just like, well, gives us a lot to chew on.
Cool bet. The Stanley Cup favorite still is the Edmonton Oilers, plus 680. Western Conference winner, Oilers, plus 350. Pacific Division winner, Oilers, plus 130. I would guess if the Oilers choose not to match Broberg, not to match Holloway, not to match both, I don't think those numbers are changing much. I don't think all of a sudden Cool Bet's going to be looking at the Oilers and going, we're gonna drop you down that quite a bit. This is, they still will be massive favorites going into next season, no matter what happens between now and Tuesday morning. Rightfully so. These guys are, I think, are going to be, both of them, very good NHL players, whether it's blue and orange that they're wearing or blue and gold. And right now, their impact on the Oilers roster, should they both stay or one of them stay, isn't going to be, or is not anticipated to be incredibly significant at this point. It'll change. It could change down the road. But right now, if they lose one or both, you're losing depth and young depth and the next wave. And that's insulting and a pain too, because you drafted, developed, put money, patience, blood, sweat, and tears into the development of both of these players. And all that work going to another franchise sucks. Hampton Steve, just adding one more point on the Oilers revenge idea. Not only do the Oilers not have cap space for revenge offer sheet next year, they also don't have the required draft picks available for compensation. Remember, they need to get their own picks, and they've already traded their first and second round picks, unless they do what the St. Louis Blues did.
Kyle
pointed
Dubas,
out on the hangout there, Tommy.
Kyle Dubas is complicit in this. Everybody, that little
30
trade
minutes beforehand.
It's like, why did they trade those? Like, that doesn't make sense. And then you see the release later, you're like, uh-oh. So you need to have your own picks for compensation in return to making an offer sheet. So the Oilers would have to go fishing and find their picks and bring them back. And guaranteed, if in a hypothetical world they went that route, that would be telegraphing their intentions.
Yeah, we're looking for a specific second round pick. It's one that used to belong to us. Have you seen that anywhere? Oh, why do you need that one? Oh, we just really like having our own draft picks.
That was our old pick. Weird. That's weird.
Yeah,
we'll take it. No
calling
reason.
A specific team for a second, and we want the one that used to belong to us. We don't want the other one. No, we want that one. We
don't care that yours is juicier and better and lower in the draft order. We'll take ours.
Yeah, we're okay being about 15 spots lower, but we're good. Don't worry.
Yeah.
If it would require a first round pick, it would be $4.58 million to $6.87 million. Yeah, so $4.58 million is a second. The next level was a first and a third. Not even just a first. You would have got a first and a third if you're the Edmonton Oilers.
Right. Right.
And that's where they are at. This is the Oil Stream live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in iHeartRadio, as well as for those watching on YouTube and also those listening on the podcast in the future. I'm really enjoying doing that, I'm not going to lie. And I think I'm going to keep doing that moving forward.
Saying hello to podcast listeners later on?
Yes. Hello.
And hello, listeners of the podcast later on. And,
they're in the future.
Those
we're in the past. Hello from the past.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. I think a few people have alluded to us as a YouTube channel, which we are, but they willfully ignore our radio side, the audio stream, and it's like, well, you do you. Whatever makes you. If you want to try to take a shot at us, that's fine. As long as people are watching and listening.
Has an radio station on TuneIn.
Yep.
If online only radio stations are good enough for Garth Brooks, who are you to tell Garth Brooks he's wrong? You're going to go up to Garth. He has a banner
in the arena.
Are you going to go up to Garth Brooks and say he doesn't have a radio station? You do that. Not you, Tom.
I might do it to Chris Gaines, but not Garth Brooks. Maddie, one last note.
Oil Stream presented by Boston Pizza. Summer is short. Make any occasion a BP patio occasion. Hop on a BP patio today to try their summer menu, which includes the chicken pesto pizza. It was delicious. Had it a few weeks ago. It's amazing. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, if you want a little bit more of a read or a little bit more of a perspective on the Broberg Holloway situation, where people might be at fault, who, do you want to point the finger at if you really need to? DNB, Daniel Nugent-Bowman, wrote a pretty good article in The Athletic about it. And it just provides a different look at all of this. And Daniel touches on comments that have been made in our market, and then really breaks it down. So if you want a little perspective on it, DNB, I think, wrote a pretty good article. So check it out.
What led the Blues offer sheet for Broberg, Holloway, and why Oilers made them susceptible? By Jeremy Rutherford and Daniel Nugent-Bowman.
And then the other one is...
Yeah, Rutherford is a long-time St. Louis Blues reporter down there. So
Rutherford's great
down there.
And then the other one is ex-Oilers GM Ken Holland deserves less blame for Broberg Holloway offer sheets. DNB goes over it all. And if you just want some more insight and perspective on it. And
I haven't read the article. I will say this about Ken Holland. Part of what was said was he was told and instructed in January to go sign these guys. To me, the issue is if it wasn't getting done and you instructed somebody to do it and it never happened, why was he still your general manager?
Exactly.
Well, that's the issue I have in all this. Like, if anytime that once that was floated out there that this is on Ken Holland, well, no, it's on you for having a lame duck GM. Then what'd you expect? Like, yeah, he might have 1 foot out the door and you'd be like, well, he's employed. He should be doing his job. Yeah, well, when you know that you're done, like we've all been set to go on vacation right away.
Yeah.
How much more do you want to extra do, especially like for something that you're not going to be around for? So no, to me that if you're going to blame, if the organization were to, and you said at the start that the organization isn't with that narrative, from the people that you've talked to, but if the organization was with that narrative of, well, this guy, that's not no longer here anymore. Well, we don't know what he was doing. Well, you employed him though. Why did you allow that to happen? And you also still had a month after he was gone, basically a month and a bit, to get something done yourself. So that one never held up to me because it actually makes you look worse in my mind.
Yeah. It's not fair. It's not right. is Ken Holland an angel and saint and the best GM ever? And did he do everything right here? No. But to put it on him and say he was tasked with it, and come on, I think we can all understand that there's way more to it than just that. And I feel like if you did actually put that task on him, whenever, he'd probably try to attack it and get it done, even though he knew his time was coming to an end.
And then, what was the later report? I think I saw something yesterday that they turned down offers though from the Oilers, both camps.
Maybe. So
like he attempted to do it. You can't force the other person to sign as well. And I know that Elliot Friedman was reported as saying yesterday that Broberg maybe was he still was with the trade request that he had earlier. I know the narrative kind of came out that it was his camp and he wasn't fully aware, but it might have. Friedman was kind of pointing out that Broberg might have been actually still wanting out, and he was. Yeah. That was a full thing that he was wanting to do, was leave the city of Edmonton and leave the Edmonton Oilers, and this was one of his ways about doing that.
Seeing and talking to him around the rink, you could tell he was not happy and frustrated. And listen, that's what agents are there for. Good ones try to make things happen. And his agent, pissed off people by going about that situation the way he did and that camp did. And it's like, remember with the Alan Walsh, Marc-Andre Fleury, samurai sword through the back with the Golden Knights.
Yep.
And Marc-Andre Fleury, I didn't know he did that. Well, the player is able to kind of play the ignorance card a little bit. And I think people will be like, well, it's just an agent acting up. There is a strategy. And when that trade discussion happened, or that his agent came out and said, oh, the Oilers are allowing us to go and seek a trade, I don't think Philip Broberg was completely unaware that might pop up. He was probably given a heads up, and then he'd be like, oh, that's my agent's thing. You can play it off that way. And that's part of the give and take in the battle and the chess match that goes on. So it's interesting. And the other thing too, and in the DNB article, again, I would recommend people read it. But he also points out that these are two players that were in the minors. And if you're trying to negotiate a deal when you're in the minors, you're in a position of weakness and you're not going to get much.
That's a really good point. That is an excellent point. Tommy, on the morning show today, I know you guys were discussing the ESTYs. Today's nominations, we were discussing Friend of EST, which is the best of Friend of EST podcast that we air on our audio stream. It has MCTV, Elks Call, Turf District, Pipeline Show, Oilers Live, Crush Performance, and Gridiron. There's also, by the way, Pipeline Show. I got to double check. I think it starts up this weekend again for Guy. I think it's season 20. Well, I know it's season 20 for Guy.
Guy's been going a long time.
I know. I just want Guy, TPS Guy, I think is his Twitter handle. It begins season 20 this week. Yeah. Coming. If it's not out yet, it's coming very soon. But the 20th season of the Pipeline Show, Friend of EST, gets going this weekend. You can catch it live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Round-a-clicks. Sports Talk audio stream noon tomorrow. But then we also had the walkout of the year, which isn't best exit from an EST event, but it's on air. And Lieutenant Eric has walked out a couple of times from drafts. I resigned and walked out of the room my own time. There was my mic drop. That was
good.
You came up with a fantastic one today. And I
had two. And I'll bring them up again. And I actually talked to Sean shortly after the morning show, and he's been catching some grief from buddies because it's taken him a day or two to heal up from what was, and by all accounts, a tremendous golf tournament that our sponsors from Hello Hockey, local public eatery, put on Tuesday. But Belzy had to step out not once, Maddie, but twice, like a two hoots, on the hangout the other day, because he needed to throw up. And I remember a text coming in being like, I didn't even know Belzy was there. And it was like an hour and a half into the show, and he was oddly quiet. because he was in very rough shape. He had a very fun time. And I said, Belzy, I nominated you for an ESTY for best walkout of the year. And he's like, oh God, that's fine. I deserve it. So he's owning up to it. And then the other one I had, and this goes like back to the first month or two of EST, was Avery McDougall-Lewis walking out.
Avery Lewis McDougall.
Lewis McDougall, pardon me. Sorry, Avery. And that's okay. I've been calling Trevor Party Graham for forever, even though it's Graham Party.
Now, did you do that on purpose?
No, I just had it mixed up.
Okay.
I had it in my phone the wrong way too. So I'm sorry, Trev. But when Avery walked out, not only did he walk out awkwardly in front of the camera where he like tried to go under it, but like just went by. He like arched his back. It's like, Avery, just go. You go. It's okay. There's no commercial breaks. And I think I pointed it out today, like that light in the restrooms, it's automatic. So if you're in there for like 2 minutes plus,
it's very short.
It's quick. It doesn't give you a lot of time. They want you in and out. It goes off. And I think he got stuck in there for a bit. So that was my other nomination for walkout of the year on air.
He gave me the money yesterday live at the press conference of Larry Thompson before when I was walking to go take my seat. He just calls me and he gives me $10, and it's just It looked really weird that all of a sudden I'm just getting paid at this press conference. But yeah, so he's got his ticket. I emailed him his ticket yesterday, so he'll be there. All so
right.
We'll see if I'll have to throw him in the forms that will get sent out for voting. ESTY, September 17th, Metro Cinema, Garneau Theater, at night, 6:15, 7 o'clock for show, 6:15 doors. I talked to Jay today about potential location for the after party. Just want to confirm that we're good to go before we start going there. So we do want an after party afterwards as well. And then I still have to talk to Dusty about the EST stat day the next day, but in the end, I'm okay coming in for a hangout at 9 o'clock. That's not a big deal. If it's the morning guys that this is mostly for, and if Dusty sits there and goes, no, we're working the mornings, then that's cool. Him, Eric, and Trev, have fun.
Good luck.
We'll show up that day. I think I'll probably be really close to 9 o'clock to coming in. But then, tickets. Matt at EdmontonSportsTalk.com to email me, Matt at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. $10 a ticket for the amount that I'm looking to sell of what I thought we'd be selling through only a couple of days. We're at about a third sold right off the bat.
That's awesome.
I know it's been selling it pretty well. There's people that have messaged me this morning that I got to get back to. I showed Trev the possible trophies that I'll be purchasing. The one that he liked out of it, I liked a few of them, but there was one I wanted and I was going to go buy. Trev, when he looked, didn't know which one I was going with. He picked the exact same one. So we're going to have those ordered soon. This is going to be some night. Jasmine just texting in, will there be a teleprompter we get to read off for the presenters? No, I don't. Where do you think we're getting a teleprompter from, Jasmine? It'll be a very rough outline of you need to go say these things. Yeah. I will have the categories that this is the nominees and this is the sheet that we're going to follow through.
We can print a script.
I have to script this somehow. I don't know.
I know.
I got to plan which awards we're going to announce, which ones we're not going to announce live there. And I realize there's a lot that I still have to do on the SD. So
it's going to be great. And we're all going to pitch in and help, obviously. The other thing,
we're just planning 2 afternoon shows and an award show in the next 4 weeks here. We're not doing a lot.
No, not at all. Not at all. This station's not doing well at all. I will add this. People have been asking me about the ESTYs. They're like, what the hell is this? And I'm like, I'm like, do you know the ESPYs? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, this is kind of just a fun knockoff, our version of it. They're like, why? And I just tell them it's to have fun. It's just a fun night. If you want to dress up, dress up. It's something different. There's going to be a red carpet. And then when I explain it to it's just for S&Gs, they're just like, oh, that actually sounds all right. And they go, how much are the tickets? They're like $10. We're just recouping the cost of the theater. Just come out, have fun. If not, that's fine too. But most of the time when I explain it like that, they're just like, you know what? I think I might go. I like that. And it's been pretty well received so far.
One of the first tweets we got to it was, I'm going to see if I can quickly find it here, because I think it summed it up very well about the ESTies. Actually, we do tweak a little bit here. Oh, I found the picture of Zach training you guys. Is this it? You guys are absolute clowns. I love you for it, and I'm proud to be a loyal listener. I like that. Yes, that sums this all up perfectly. Like, this just seems very ridiculous, but it's a good ridiculous, and it's going to be a fun time. And as Dusty has said, this hasn't been done before in Edmonton media. I don't know if it's been done before in like Canadian local media. Obviously, there's actual real Canadian awards that get handed out for media
that are prestigious. Yes,
but I'll say, James Duthie's not going to have an ESTies, huh? Take
Correct.
that, Duthie. Take that.
Yeah, James.
Ray Ferraro with your best color commentator award or whatever it is. But where's your ESTI though?
Yeah, where's your walkout ESTI?
Yeah. Where's your gutsiest performance?
Yes. Draft win, or it's listen, that comment, I saw it on our Twitter, and I thought it was pretty funny. We know when to turn on the serious side of things, and there's obviously a time and place to have fun, and we like to have fun. And I think people are very aware of that. So this is just a fun thing, and a unique way to do it. So I love how it came up one day on a show, and you're just like, you know what, we could probably do that. And here we are. Yeah,
it was the morning show. Trev was in with the morning boys, and I remember driving and listening to them talk about it. And then I filled in for Trev the next day, and the boys asked me like, hey, you think we could do this? And I think they were probably expecting me to be like, no, this sounds dumb. We're not doing this. Like, why would you think this is a good idea that we're going to do? But I went the opposite way. I was like, no, I think this is actually great. And like I remember that whole morning I was thinking about how to do the awards, and like it was all figured out that day. I figured out exactly how we're doing the awards and voting on it and stuff. So CJ in LA, you guys need to find a way to live stream this thing. Charge people the $10 to tune in, earn more money. Some of us only exist on pins on the EST listener map and listen from abroad. Make it happen, CJ in LA. I wouldn't know how to do a paid way of doing it, though. Like, we are going to
I don't know.
We'll record it and stream, like, put it up later. That's happening. Mm-hmm. If you want to watch it live, like, I don't know how we could go about getting you a stream that you only could get in if you pay for it. Yeah. Especially for the Americans, because we don't have e-transfer between the two countries. Right.
Shout out to CJ in LA. She's pretty awesome and pretty loyal EST listener and viewer.
Oh,
so
is that her?
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. Sorry.
And
for most,
you know what, CJ, when you're back in town, come by the studios. Like, come hang out and say hi to everybody, because I actually have chatted with CJ in LA. And actually, she's in Chicago sometime. Very jealous. Like, what are you doing in those cities? Lucky. Take us with you.
Well, why is Jolene Latimer moving back to Edmonton from LA?
Because she's from here.
Yes, so go stay in LA. I speak on that as someone born and raised in Edmonton as you are. I would love to go live in LA.
God bless Sean May.
One of the few cities that I like. If somebody said, "Hey, do you want to come move here?" It wouldn't take me much consideration. Be like, yes, I'm in. Yeah. LA is there for me. Cal in the Park, really looking forward to it. Anytime the Nasties can get together is even better. Proud to be part of the EST community. It's an amazing community that this is. And it's not us. It's all the Nasties out there that make it amazing. And when you're at the Nasty Bash, it's just fun to be there. And as one person pointed me, it's like there's not two groups of the same people at the Nasty Bash. It's just it brings in so many different people that would not hang out, but they're all ranging out because there's this connection through EST, and friendships have been made, and we've seen it like with Rip City Step and Vera Montenegro and Jason and Andrea, and like there's just so many Ian, like there's just Fergie's prostate, I should call him. I don't know why I called him Ian there. Tube, so like they just there's a little community that gets built. It's absolutely incredible.
Norman at Combine, Sticky Rice, the boys.
Savage.
It's fantastic. Yeah. Trev, Renee.
You could stream a video on Discord. Can you?
Really?
Yeah, but then how do I make sure you paid for it, though? That's the part I'm confused by. This is the Oil Stream. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with you here. Portions of this hour brought to you by Popeyes. We will launch boneless wings, a contribution to their bone-in wing platform. People can choose between their ghost pepper bone-in wings or their all-white Eat boneless wings with a milder flavor, which includes the signature hot honey garlic, honey barbecue, garlic parmesan, as well as the classic. I'm probably going to head to Popeyes after the show today to get a little bit of a lunch, nice. As I have a little bit of work to do here. But Tommy, we talked Oilers. I do want to get tomorrow. Elks taking on the Ticats. No Trey Ford.
Yeah.
How are you feeling for the Elks going into this game?
Not as confident as if Trey Ford were starting, and I think that's natural. I think a lot of people would agree with that sentiment. I was encouraged watching the Elks and looking at it from their point of view by how McLeod Bethel Thompson did manage to guide the ship to a victory. And I thought that one drive he had in the third quarter that ended on an end zone interception, I was like, oh, that's a bad sign. But he bounced back. The defense came up with some big plays. That's good to see. And then MBT did do a decent job of making sure they sealed that game, getting first downs. They got that late touchdown. They put it away and on ice. So maybe that gives some assurance that there is game left in him. I'm not saying he's done. I'm not, because you're going to need two quarterbacks, obviously. We've clearly seen that with the Elks. We saw Jeremiah Mazzoli win his first ever start yesterday with the Red Blacks after 2 season-ending injuries in the last couple of years. And so the veteran guys do have a place and do have a lot of ability to get the job done. And MBT's one of those guys. He's been around the league for a long time. So I still like the Elks' chances of making it 3 in a row. I know the Ticats, gave it to Edmonton back when Bo Levi Mitchell was still the starter of the Ticats. So that's an interesting development that has occurred out of Hamilton. We'll see how they respond to that. But I think the rest of the group, from an Elks standpoint, defense starting to make some plays, not being as susceptible to the big plays that they gave up is a good sign. I think there's a little bit of belief in Jarius Jackson, a bit of a different vibe with G. Simon as the GM. I think that's important. And then offensively, we're starting to see guys pop off. And then Tevin Jones all of a sudden and Javon Leake have gone from, one guy wasn't even with the team a month ago, and now he's got back-to-back huge games receiving. And then Javon Leake, especially with Kevin Brown going down, Leake was getting his touches at running back, but it was Brown who was, RB1, and we get that, and deservedly so. But Leake now is starting to become a very reliable source of offense. So I think there's enough positive momentum in these last 2 wins to get them past Hamilton without Trey Ford. And then Trey Ford heals up, and he's ready to go for the next game, and then we're inching closer to Labor Day here, and that's going to be huge.
It's wild to think it was just only a few weeks ago that these two teams met. Bo Levi Mitchell throws for over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns.
First time ever he ever did that.
The Elks bench McLeod Bethel Thompson. They go to Trey Ford, and now the Elks come into this game on a 2-game win streak. Back to MBT though, and the Ticats, just how things have changed. Bo Levi getting benched, and Taylor Powell is coming in, and it was only 3 weeks ago that Bo Levi Mitchell was throwing 5 touchdown passes against this Elks team. The Ticats don't have James Butler listed on their depth chart. He's out. He's been placed on the 1 game, so that helps the Edmonton Elks that they don't have to go up against James Butler, who's been fantastic this season. I will pose one question to you that I threw to Jay during the hangout a little bit today. Let's say Trey's out for 2 weeks. And let's say MBT comes in and he plays rather well. Let's say tomorrow he goes 300 yards, 3 touchdowns against Montreal, leads the team to win against Montreal. Who's the starter on Labor Day?
Well, you're doing that in Montreal against a very strong Alouettes team. I think if that were to happen, I don't think it would happen. I'm sorry, Montreal's that strong. I think you would have to give the start to MBT, because just like how Trey Ford commanded the next start after the Hamilton game, MBT could do that for himself with a big showing against Montreal. And that would be going against all the intuition every Elks fan would have to be thirsty to get Trey Ford back in there for the Labor Day game. I think Trey Ford should be the starter for the Labor Day game. I think his small window this year of what he's done is enough to tell us he's ready for the spotlight of Labor Day. But you got to play these next 2 games and let's see what happens. So I don't think we get to that point, Maddie. I think we do see Trey Ford back. But I think I'll just start with this game coming up in Hamilton. I think MBT is good enough to guide them to another victory. But I think you get Trey Ford in there and back running the offense as soon as he and his body are ready.
I will give the Edmonton Elks free advice here for Damon Bunting. Don't let Trey Ford lose his job due to injury. Don't care how well MBT plays. Don't allow him to do this job because I will be very confident he will not be re-signing with this club moving forward. I don't care about MBT with this franchise moving forward. I care about Trey Ford. And if he loses his job, I don't care that they win 2 games and do well. If he loses his job because he was out with an injury, that's just another shot that this organization is taking to Trey Ford to try to push him out this door. Don't do it. Yeah. Don't do it. I hope MBT goes off for 2 games and wins them football games. If that's the case, if Trey when Trey is 100% healthy, I don't care what's happening necessarily. He needs to be the starter. That's where I go with that.
Hey, Maddie, I have one text I want to get to, and just one final note on the Trey Ford thing. This is where a sole owner could make a call.
And I said this on the Hango. He mentioned one thing yesterday. He said winning is what matters. Got to get back to winning. The other thing he's mentioned though is entertaining. Mm-hmm. And he said want to be entertaining. Well, one quarterback entertains more than the other quarterback.
Yes, very much so. One text that came in, Stan Pater texted and says, Tommy, you mentioned people around the league do not like the Oilers. Is it still because they changed the league rules to try and keep the Oilers from getting the first pick, only for those rules to land the Oilers McDavid? Such sweet justice. Stan Pater, like that played into it. Sure. Like the fact that Edmonton won that lottery, there was a lot of eye rolling around the NHL, disdain. Understandably so. You got to be super lucky, and the Oilers were obviously to get McDavid. And there's been other things. There's been a myriad of things that have occurred. Arrogance, let's call it, from the Oilers. How they go about things, things that we don't see in the public eye, league wide, where just people around the league are like, Oilers. Nobody feels sorry for Edmonton anymore. They're not the small market. Sir, can you spare $1 type franchise? That's gone, has been for almost 2 decades. They're a have franchise, and they're not going to get a lot of sympathy or empathy from other teams and other managers. So, but you're right, like the McDavid draft and all that, the way they squandered other first overall picks and that opportunity. Nugent Hopkins was a good first overall pick. Taylor Hall has turned into a very good NHL player. But the way it worked for them in Edmonton with Yakupov and Hall, it hasn't won a lot of people over in terms of likability around the National Hockey League. I think that sums it up really quickly in a nice way.
Tommy, excellent stuff. You're off next week. Enjoy Calgary. You're back Monday. What is that then? The 26th. Geez. 26th of August already. But have a great time on that trip down to Calgary. Look forward to hearing some stories. And thanks to everyone for tuning into the Oil Stream presented by Boston Pizza. On behalf of Gazzola, I'm Matt Iwanyk. Trev on the other side of the camera. Coming up next on our audio stream, it is a replay of the Nielsen Show from this morning with Tommy, Trev, and Gager. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock, Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Myself, Jay Milne. We've got the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. We'll also have the post-game show. And Sunday, 8 a.m., it is the VIP Golf Show with Murray McCourt and Curtis Stock. Thanks for tuning in to the Oil Stream. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll chat with you. Well, I'll chat with you tomorrow.